Oh no, Kyle. It happened again.
What happened, Mike?
Shrinkage.
Oh no.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
This is Gayish.
Great. Now there are squiggles.
We've got Kyle and Mike on the ones and twos.
And me on the threes.
And Dan on the threes.
The fours and the fives.
That's a
and
thing.
the sixes and
Okay,
Dale
so
10.
what I want to talk about is that today is the 20th anniversary of the release of the movie The Matrix.
Is this for our other Matrix podcast?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's important for a couple of reasons. Here we go.
For gay people? Is
This
it
is
because
also-
Trinity's a huge lesbian?
This is
Okay.
this is also the 10th day of visibility, Trans Day of Visibility today,
Oh, like the 10th annual.
which is why we see them.
Okay, yes, for the first time, these people appear out of nowhere,
Most people don't know. Before 2009, they were invisible.
and now they're visible.
But
For one day, they're like leprechauns on...
It's kind of like True Blood.
no,
Okay.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
So the Matrix was created by who were then known as the Wachowski brothers.
Oh, I get it. It's all okay.
And now they are the Wachowski sisters. Both of them
Did
are
they,
trans.
do they go by that?
I
think, like, the last-
it was the Wachowskis for a while, and I think that's because Lily was not ready to
I
be
think
out
one was
yet.
Yeah.
So it's Lana and Lily are the Wachowskis. I don't even remember their names from when they were presenting mail, but it's a really cool intersection of things because there are a large number of people who think that the Matrix was actually an allegory for transness.
Sorry, I just flicked my pen cap across the room somehow.
It was like
Man,
it was like your pen had an orgasm.
I know. It's like I'm a squirter. Okay.
So
Allegory for transness.
an allegory for transness.
Okay,
So-
tell me more.
So people are starting to look at the Matrix, or not starting to, they have for a long time now, but especially since they came out as trans, the Wachowskis came out as trans, of trying to understand that movie through the lens of what it's like to be a trans person. So, first of all, that whole movie, the it's a trilogy, but the first movie is the only one that people cared about or saw. Is about the mind transcending the limitations of the body, right? The actual physical body of these people are in these pods working basically like Duracell batteries for aliens. And if, oh, by the way, you've had 20 years to see The Matrix. I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen The Matrix, but you plan to, like, don't listen to this.
Like, spoiler alert is like, if it's more than 1 year old, fuck you, it's your fault, right? Like,
Right. I think so. I mean,
yeah.
it depends on...
It's spoiled.
It-
Like, you're fine.
I mean, if you would throw out wine that was this old, then...
Oh, never mind.
Who are the actual names?
Oh.
Well, okay, I don't know if we should keep that in. Because,
Actual's not the right word. But
Well,
yeah, sorry.
but
That
even
was
just-
really shitty.
well, just even bringing up trans people's
Like dead naming them?
birthday naming,
Yeah.
yeah, is like not totally
call.
good
But-
form,
Cut it.
so we might cut that.
Well, but what's interesting... Okay. But I think we should talk about it. People,
okay.
people might not know. I mean, we talk about trans issues, but not necessarily all the time.
Yeah.
Like the name Bruce Jenner, that's Caitlyn's dead name. And what a dead name means is that trans person was assigned a gender at birth that they do not identify as, and they were given a name that fits the gender that they do not identify as. So when they come out, when they transition, and they select a new name and they confirm their gender through either just changing their appearance or through surgery or both, whatever it is.
Or none, or just
But that original name is their dead name. So if you say, well, if you're dead naming somebody, that means that you're insisting on using their name, even though you shouldn't.
Yeah. And part of it is like, in that same vein is like people that say, oh, I want to see a picture of before you were presenting as your, actual gender, and that, what I've seen trans people say about that is like, hey, like, if they came to me and were like, hey, show me a picture of you when you were your most depressed. And I'd be like, fuck you, I don't want to think about that or show you that. So it's that same idea of like,
It's every picture.
it's all the pictures you can find of me from like 1992 to present. So it's like I'm on a new medication. It's fine. Everything's great. I don't randomly break down in tears sometimes recently. It's fine.
Okay.
So
I really thought we'd get through at least 15 minutes before.
talk about my new medication.
Yeah. No, but you started crying.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't started crying yet. Just inside.
Okay, great.
Since 1992. No, but so the idea of like bringing up trans people's dead names or trying to intentionally find pictures of trans people, quote unquote, before they were trans, like trying to, it's not your business. It's also not your business what genitals they have. Like, like there's a lot of things that people are just naturally curious about, which makes sense that you're curious, but also like, I'm sorry you're curious. Shut up. It's not your place to ask about.
So I will say though, like I think it's slightly problematic when you're talking about a public figure, and arguably the Wachowskis, by creating,
they're absolutely public figures. Yeah,
right. Well, I also think arguably the Matrix is the most prevalent or famous art that has been created by trans people. Can you name another piece of art? Whether you consider movies art or not, I don't know, but I do. And the first movie was great. The other two were sort
there.
of shitty.
They definitely appeared in movie theaters.
The Matrix, the very first movie of that trilogy, I would say is art and super successful.
Yeah.
And like name something on that level created by trans people.
Well, maybe not created. Laverne Cox winning an Emmy for Orange Is the New Black. So
yeah, but
her as an actress, Mike, more famous than the Wachowskis.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
You're wrong.
No.
You're so wrong.
No.
How many times have the Wachowskis shown up on the cover of Time magazine or whatever she was, The Advocate? I promise you Laverne Cox is more famous than the Wachowskis. I will bet you 1,000 penises.
Well, what is the measure by which we decide
Oh,
who
great.
wins this
Let's
bet?
be Mike about this.
No, I'm serious.
promise. No,
I'm
she's
serious.
an
I'm serious.
She's an actress that appeared in the show. She was, I think, the first trans person to...
And I know who she is. I do know who she is.
She's been on Entertainment Weekly, Cosmo, Time, The Advocate, Attitude, etc., etc.
A lot of... We know that
Essence.
Wachowskis did The Matrix and other things and are trans, but a lot of people don't know this. Laverne Cox is one of the most public trans figures out there. So I will defend that statement.
I would argue The Matrix is probably more famous than anything Laverne Cox has done, but name recognition, I think Laverne Cox over Lily or Lana Wachowski.
For sure.
But this started as...
So the reason I brought that up is that's very notable art, an artist, an actor that has been one of the first and been recognized, through the Emmys. Did she win or was she just nominated? Either way, it was a record-setting thing. So that's the only other person I can think of that would be like trans person involved in art. Except I don't know if you count the future reality TV series, Keeping Up with Caitlyn.
Keeping Up with Caitlyn?
Yeah, that's going to be a e-reality series in like 5 years, I promise.
Yeah, and clearly art.
And very artistic.
So The Matrix made $463 million at the box office.
Wow.
This Laverne person has done nothing even
Fuck
remotely.
you, I hate you. We're in a fight.
Okay, great. Okay, so, but
trans people have butts.
most of them do.
Most.
So they...
She didn't win for Orange Is the New Black, by the way. She won a Daytime Emmy for the T Word, but she was nominated repeatedly for Orange Is the New Black.
And she was like the first, at least out trans person nominated for an Emmy, right? Like a good Emmy, not a daytime Emmy.
Just this endless flow of questions. What do you think I am?
Dan, what are you here for? If not, answer if not, receive my endless flow. Okay, Mike.
Do you remember the plot of The Matrix? Have you seen it enough to know, if I refer to things that happen in the movie, you'd be
Red
like, yeah,
pill,
that happened.
Blue pill.
Yep. Okay, great. So, yes, absolutely.
Bending the fork or the spoon or something.
Bending some implement
There
of
is no
consumption.
spoon, Dan.
Yeah, it's because it's a fork. It's a spork.
Okay, that reminds me of
and
The
it's
Simpsons.
plastic, and anybody could bend it.
Did y'all watch The Simpsons enough to get the reference? You've played knifey spoony before. No? Okay. That's someone out there thought it was hilarious. Anyway, what?
So Keanu Reeves' character is named Neo. Mm-hmm. Carrie Ann Moss is Trinity. You said that she was a lesbian, which I don't think is true.
No, I mean, what I'm thinking of is she's in Jessica Jones as a lesbian, and I don't know Carrie Ann Moss, but like she's She has short hair.
That's all.
No,
it takes.
like I cannot stop thinking about her lesbian orgy in Jessica Jones. So
Great,
that's
yeah.
why now, like, I very much associate with her with lesbianism. You're right. In this case, Trinity was a straight, and very importantly because it was her love that got Neo to be alive or whatever.
We've been doing this for like 10 minutes now. Okay, so something. So when Neo first meets Trinity, they know each other through hacking, right? Online.
Oh.
They know each other because they are both hackers on like forums and whatever. Neo says to Trinity, I assumed that you were a guy. And she replies, most guys do. And moving on to like another Matrix thing. The characters have dead names, right? Like there's the name that they choose when they come out of the Matrix, and they are all hanging out with each other. There's Trinity, there's Neo, there's Switch, there's Morpheus. There's like all of their names, and they don't dead name each other. But Agent Smith does. He only refers to them by their dead names, right?
Yeah, what's Neo's dead name? Mr.
Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Mr.
Anderson.
The first part, like, I mean, part of that is just for some reason, and I do this too, our default assumption of a random person commenting on the internet is probably a white dude. Like that, like,
Yeah.
that's just our natural, or I shouldn't say our. I know me, but I've seen this enough that for a lot of people, the default is you are a straight white male.
Yep.
And so it kind of like, I mean, I think what Trinity said is, most people do is also just part of what is it's like really interesting, like human psyche kind of experiment of like, what is your assumption of a random person whose name, gender, orientation, all that is indefinite, and what do you assume? And that,
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking now about the new Star Trek Discovery and how the main character's name is Michael Burnham. Her name is Michael Burnham.
Oh.
And it's an interesting play on sort of gender and identity and names and how all of that works out. Okay, so to keep going.
this isn't a shrinkage anymore. This is just a foliage.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can talk.
So some people have suggested that over the course of the trilogy, the wardrobe got more androgynous and more leather bound, which I don't know why that's a trans thing, but this is a trans author that I'm basing a lot of this on.
What was the trans author's name?
There's a big article in Vox by Emily Sandalwood that dropped yesterday, and that's
Vox is like more and more showing up on my radar as like really interesting, insightful, like unique opinions in a like great way of like they're not actually that. It's just all these communities you don't know about or perspectives that make a lot of sense but just don't get coverage. I'm really into Vox.
Yeah. Yep. I support
Pro.
would recommend. So more stuff. So do you remember the character of Switch, the sort of mousy, like super technical, smart girl?
Yes. Wait, is that the one with like white blonde hair?
I don't remember what Switch looks like because I don't have a visual memory. I have an audio memory.
What's it called when you have neither memory?
Goldfish
A blank
memory.
Okay. Yes, I do remember Switch.
Okay, so in the original script, Switch was written to present as male in reality while presenting as female inside the Matrix. And Warner Brothers said, that's confusing. We don't want that to happen, and forced them to change that. So they chose Switch to be a purely female character. But originally, that character was supposed to be part of this allegory of your identity inside the Matrix on the internet. If you accept the Matrix as being sort of a pseudo internet metaphor, that she was male in quote unquote real life. Her actual like body was born male, presented male, but was female inside the Matrix.
There was another thing that not related to trans people that they had to change because people are stupid. Like that says to me like people are stupid. So like we have to make this easy because people are dumb and don't get this. So you have to make it easier. The same thing is like everyone was like, you know, humans being used as batteries was not the actual. They wanted to do something that made a lot more sense than what they ended up doing because people wouldn't understand the like. And as I'm describing it, I don't remember it, so maybe they're right, and I'm stupid enough to not get.
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember it either. I thought. Of course, I've been a computer science guy for a really long time, including in college, which is when the Matrix came out for me. Oh. And I always wondered why were they presenting it in terms of batteries? Because biochemical energy is really very inefficient in a lot of ways, but the human brain is crazy efficient, and like we're trying to emulate the human brain in so much of electrical engineering. I'm boring you. Okay. Anyway, I just wondered why we weren't being linked together like some sort of serial network of computing processing, and that's what they wanted out of us. And
there was something much smarter that they were. I think you're right. Because you said a lot of things I didn't totally understand, which I think means you're right. No, like it was something like they had to go with the battery analogy because people like me are stupid and they get batteries, but they don't get whatever they were trying to do originally.
Serial computing, parallel computing.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. What?
Oh,
do you have a thing?
Yeah, just Switch was
Oh yeah.
Short blonde hair.
Yeah, that is who I was thinking of.
Androgynous.
Yeah.
So this author in Vox in this article is talking about how in 1999 when the Matrix came out, she was logging into chat rooms to present as a female online before she even realized that she was trans. Like she had feelings that things weren't quite right, that there was a big part of her identity that she didn't understand, etc. But
her penis.
Well, yeah.
Well, I don't know how big that part of her identity was, but yeah.
Everything I want to say is so offensive.
I just threw you for a loop. I didn't. Oh, you're just trying to not be offensive. Okay,
yeah,
that really.
Like, is it okay to be a size queen about a trans woman? I don't know. Probably not.
I think you can be whatever you want about whatever you want to be, and you're like correctly gendering the person you're talking to, and you recognize that females can have giant wangs. Like it's that's just the truth, you know.
This author was logging into chat rooms to present as a woman and doing it, quote, with more and more frequency in ways I didn't interrogate, which I thought was an interesting phrase.
I mean, I like when I had the internet, I would occasionally like log in as a woman, but only because then I could talk to straight dudes. It was not because I felt that I was a woman and wanted to be one. It was that was how you get straight dudes to talk to you.
That was how you get dick pics.
Yeah. I mean, at that time, they weren't called dick pics. They were just called, like, pedophile penises. And you could get them whenever you wanted.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Okay, great.
I'm done talking.
Other stuff.
I think I'm done talking for now.
So I don't know how much I want to talk about this, actually. So, did you know that red pilling is now a thing online that gets discussed? How do you understand it? Because I had never heard of it, I don't think, before I read this article. So.
I forget. Isn't it like a male, like, horrible men that... I don't remember. I know it's a thing, but I don't remember anything about it.
So, in the movie, if you took the red pill, then you would be ejected out of the Matrix and you could be brought into the real world. And
so that's what Neo takes.
Yeah, but the blue pill would like turn you back into a battery or whatever. You would just forget all of the new information you had about the way that the universe works, and you would just blissfully go back to your mundane existence inside the Matrix. So, but what's interesting is in 2019 to be red pilled is to realize that social justice issues are bullshit. And that's what people think, that like people who think that gay people are okay are they took the blue pill because that's a fake reality. People who think that women deserve equal rights are in denial, and they're stuck in the matrix that like that it's okay to be a white supremacist. And I realize that that's because I took the red pill. And
we rise above in a level of intelligence that you don't understand. It somehow validates and makes it easier for me not to have to think and change and grow.
Exactly.
So it's like this alt-right slang for like...
I've seen the light.
Way. Yeah. Oh.
It's not alt-right, it's alt-red. The way you slumped down after that joke was very fitting, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that feedback.
Part of the interestingness to me here that the author sort of goes into in this article is that they're using with pride the concept of a red pill that was invented by trans women, right? Like you wouldn't have the idea of a red pill. Like, red pill would mean nothing if it weren't for this movie, The Matrix, that was written by two trans women, and yet you're using it to represent your wokeness as somebody who really gets it and is transcending all of the... I mean,
part of... Ooh, my pop filter didn't work there. That was too poppy. Part of the thing about people that believe that is active denial in like things, so that probably like I'm sure there's a million excuses, or maybe they just ignore that, and like it's all to make life easier. It's hard to think that I might be contributing towards hate or violence or negatively impacting a community. What's easier is like, oh my God, someone has just said that like, actually you're right, and just keep doing what you're doing and everything's fine and you don't have to change. Like, that's so much easier. So it's like, I mean, I get the like, it's crazy that they only have it because trans people, and then they go around and, you know, don't like any minorities, but like I
think it's a perfect symbol for the way that the far right works.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the far right these days isn't quite so far. Like, you don't have to get very far right of the spectrum before you get all kinds of weird cognitive dissonance fueled bullshit. Your bullshit is bullshit.
Your cognitive fueled bullshit is bullshit. That was the longer version of the quote. We parroted that down a little bit, but
I think there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
But I will leave this whole thing with a quote that I...
Do you know what, before you get to that,
Yeah.
do you know what poop says?
What?
I'll leave this whole thing.
Spell hole. Okay. No, I'm not going to leave it with a quote.
Oh.
I will end with the quote. But also, in this article, they talk about a thing that I did not realize, but now I love and I want to do it. Like, I want to have that be part of my vernacular. Some online trans communities have a word for trans people who haven't realized they're trans yet.
Oh.
Egg. They call them eggs.
Oh, I've seen that before, but never
They're
really known.
unhatched.
Yeah, when you're in an egg, the quote, when you're in an egg, you're safely closed off by your shell, unable to see the wider world. It's kind of like being in a sensory deprivation tank. Everything is muffled. The world is hazy and translucent through the walls. There's always some barrier between you and reality. Being inside the egg is comfortable. And leaving the egg is a lot of work, a lot of painful, grinding work that many people would rather avoid.
Wow, it's very blue pill, red pill, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Eggs hatch, though, and the hatching process is messy and complicated. It leaves behind something new and beautiful, but getting there can take days or years. And what will crack the shell isn't always predictable. Pretty cool, right?
Also, yes, that's very cool. Also, I really want a trans person to call themselves lucent.
Lucent?
Translucent?
Translucent.
Sorry, you were saying lots of intelligent stuff. That's all I could think of for some reason. Anyway, I wonder how much, like, did the Wachowskis say how much of that is actually, like, trying to represent transness? Like, is that verified, or is that...
God damn, you're fucking great, Kyle.
Looking
really?
at me.
I heart you.
Yeah?
Yeah, shut up. Okay. Lily Wachowski, while accepting a GLAAD award with her sister in 2016, because they're famous enough to get a GLAAD award, unlike
Talk
that
to
other...
the Emmys.
Okay, great.
What award that people care about were they nominated for? Burn.
I mean, Oscars. But
They were nominated for an Oscar?
/ won.
They won an
Oscars.
Oscar?
Okay.
For what? Okay, sorry. We ignore all that. You could go do your thing. But
They won a GLAAD award, and Lily Wachowski said while accepting that award, quote, "There's a critical eye."
I'm struggling to find an Oscar.
Have you heard of IMDb, the company you used to work for?
You know, can we start calling being on prep blue pilling? That you're just blissfully unaware and living
You're
in
unaware
denial.
of your
Security,
HIV
like
status?
false security, and yeah.
Okay, Mike. Something you were going to say?
All right, Mike. Blah blah
Keep-
blah
keep
blah
doing-
blah blah.
I enjoy being a dick to you. That wasn't supposed to be so dickish sounding, but anyway.
Lily Wachowski, while accepting a GLAAD award
Oh,
with
right,
her
right,
sister
right.
in 2016, said, quote, "There's a critical eye being cast back on Lana and I's work through the lens of our transness. This is a cool thing because it's an excellent reminder that art is never static. And while the ideas of identity and transformation are critical components in our work, the bedrock that all ideas rest upon is love." I don't know.
Also, don't think of
Love.
GLAAD awards like candy these days. They're
Yeah,
like
oh, yeah.
Beyonce, Christina,
Yeah. But, like,
Ariana,
Well, that's
whoever.
why Ariana, whoever.
Iggy Azalea, whatever.
Ariana Picania. I think if they gave awards to people like the Wachowskis more often, then it would be more of a serious thing rather than like, oh, what female pop icon has had a hit, in the top 10? Because like the Wachowskis deserve for being trans, being such prominent artists and doing such big things. Like they are the type of people that would deserve a GLAAD award versus like, what did Ariana Grande do? I don't really know. I'd like her, but
She
anyway.
has a gay brother.
She
does have a gay brother.
Qualifications.
yeah.
He's attractive. I would bang him.
Well, but he's already banging those two other dudes that he's in a thruple
Oh,
with.
that's right.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Good memory.
That's fine. I'll bang
Thank
them all.
you. I remember things like this. The important things. I think, well, and that goes to, I mean, part of what I was thinking in my head when I was asking that is, I wonder how much of that for them is they weren't intentionally including references to being trans, but like part of it might just be like subconscious of like those themes or things that you could read as trans just being like the things they think about. And I think that's really interesting too.
So I have sometimes wondered if my love of sci-fi and fantasy is rooted in my gayness, that to live this white picket fence, married to a woman, we're going to have kids someday, and desperately knowing somewhere in here that that's not really me, and a desire to escape that reality into something that is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is a advanced society where people are more accepting, and I wonder if that's part of the appeal.
Well, I think part of I gay is one route to this, but I think a lot of people have that feeling of I'm living my day-to-day life, but I'm special and there's more to me, and the idea of something coming, it's like Star-Lord, it's stupid Chris Pratt, stupid
Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah.
Stupid sexy Chris Pratt who hates or goes to that dumb church, but it's a good example of like, here's a kid who's like, I'm living a regular life and I'm kind of annoyed. I mean, there are thousands of movies that are like this. Like, and something came out and said, yes, you are in fact special. Yes, you are in fact different. And let me take you into this new world that you didn't know about because you are. And I think being gay is a perfect reason people may feel like that, of like, I am not this life that I'm in. I'm more than that, or I'm not this, or I am special and I can't put my finger on it, or I can't break out of that. And I think a lot of people, but I think people want that regardless. People, straight, gay, trans, cis, dumb, fat, ugly, hot, models. Like, and if everyone wants to be told, you're right that you're special. That's true. And you've been selected for how special you are, or you're going into this new world because you're so special.
Do you remember The Last Starfighter? Dan does.
That's when he said that, like, other movies, that's the first one I thought it was The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Did he play like a video game and he won the video game, and that's how he like
Talking about Ender's Game?
They were like-
That's Ender's Game.
Oh no, I'm thinking of some '80s thing. So it may.
The Last Starfighters, 1984. It was when it came out, and I don't remember why he was recruited, but he was recruited by aliens who needed him to drive their ship for them, and
They were drunk.
also Flight of the Navigator.
Oh yeah.
Which there's another, like, you live a boring suburban white kid life, and now suddenly you're like in charge of saving humanity by being able to fly this spaceship,
Was
right?
that the one with River Phoenix?
Joey Kramer is his
I'm
name?
so bored.
Listen,
Yeah, Joey
Kyle,
Kramer. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know where I got.
it is not our fault that you aren't old enough to see these movies because you weren't born yet.
I was born.
Talking about special. We all want to feel so special.
Hey, I did not give myself a participation trophy. Someone else did that to me.
Oh, Kyle.
Oh, typical millennial bullshit. I'm not responsible for any of my choices. It was done to me.
Look, I got you this blue pill.
Where?
Is it Valtrex or Prep?
Yes.
It's below both. Oh my god, if they made like a prep with antidepressant in it, because like you probably, let's be honest.
Isn't Valtrex for
You're a little
for herpes?
stressed.
It's for cold sores.
Oh sure,
Or
there's some
herpes,
herp
yeah.
medication in there. Great. I just need one combo,
Take one football-sized pill a day.
a herpa prep depressant, antidepressant pill.
Great. Yeah.
Herpagonosyphilis.
That's all.
Dude. Great. Good. Oh, but
Were we ending on
also,
a quote? Oh, you did the quote already.
To sum up.
well, wait. Before you sum up,
Yeah.
let me plug you for a second.
Ooh.
Oh.
Plug
If
me.
you want to, we are going to be doing more and more content like this in our Patreon. So if you want extra free bonus things, extra free bonus content,
Bonus.
you will bonus. Good. We already do bonus segments for all of our episodes, but we're also going to start doing bonus episodes that are a little bit shorter, like our shrinkages once a month at least. So if you want more things like this, go to patreon.com/farts.
If you want more things like this, tell your therapist.
Because you've got things to work through. Gayish, nope. Patreon.com/Gayish podcast to sign up and get some free bonus stuff. What were you going to end on, Mike?
The Matrix is 20 years old.
And so are you.
The creators are trans. It's the 10th anniversary of Trans Day of Visibility. So go see a trans person.
Go look for trans people. They're fading away very quickly. It's almost sunset. So
Great. Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Was that okay?
Yeah.
yeah.
Except for where I dead named.
Well, that's all for this mini episode.
It was me.
It was mini. It was an episode. And it was kind of gayish.
Yeah, so
Remember to the 3 R's: rate, review, and prescribe.
I'm Mike Johnson,
I'm Kyle Getz.
and be butch, be fabulous, stay out of the cold water.